Hello everyone, how you all doing? This is Monjyoti. Hope you all are doing good. In this video, I wanted to share a critically important principle that will enable us to prime ourselves for success, happiness, productivity, or whatever it is that we desire. But before that, I wanted to ask you, what do you do if you feel, let's say, stuck or overwhelmed or not being your best self, or there's a nagging sensation that something is not right, but you're not able to do anything about it? How do you handle those low frequency moments? You can drop in the comments and I would love to read them. And I want to share one principle that I believe in, and I feel that this is critically important. This is about the brain. So our brain has a system. It's a filter. This filter controls the information that it allows to enter into our brain, and it filters out the rest. So this filter notices what's important in our environment and what's useless. Because in our environment there are 1 million billion trillion things, right? And if you start noticing everything, and if we start treating each and everything with equal value, our brain will literally explode. So there's a reason we have this system, and there's a technical term for it. It's called reticular activating system. So it notices what's important in our environment and it pays attention to that. And understanding this system is very, very, very important. I'll tell you why. So I want to give an example. Let's say you're reading a magazine, a book, right? And you came across the picture of a black Tesla, right? A beautiful black car. And you fell in love with it. And then you emotionally rehearsed that feeling of love for a while. And then you walked out into the street, and then you can't help but notice all the black cars. Were they not there before? I don't think so. But all of a sudden you start noticing all the black cars in your environment. It was always there, but now you trained yourself to notice that that's important, because you have emotionally rehearsed the feeling of loving that particular thing. So you have given the signal to your brain that this is important in our environment. So pay attention and find this thing in the environment. So same is true with our goals. Let's say if you're very clear about what we want, if you have emotionally rehearsed the feeling of having arrived at the goal, if you emotionally rehearse the feeling in advance, ahead of the time, again and again, what you're going to do, you're basically going to program that filter. Because consciously or unconsciously, we are programming our filter all the time. But if you're unconscious about how it is getting programmed, then you are at the mercy of your environment, right? We have no idea what it is picking up and how it is shaping that filter. So you want to take conscious control of how this filter is programmed. So what you're going to do is you have to be very clear about your goals, what you want, what you desire specifically, and how does it feel. Put yourself in that scenario ahead of the time and feel that feeling, visualize that feeling, imagine that feeling, because we humans had the advantage of living out of the imagination, right? And as you repeatedly do that, what you're going to do is you're going to program that filter to notice anything in your environment that supports that filter. So let's say if you want to be successful in your business and you have emotionally rehearse that final outcome, a specific final outcome ahead of the time, you have given that signal to your brain, given that permission to the brain to notice anything related to that final outcome in your environment as important, right? For example, you might look for that mentor who has been there and done that, and they can probably give you a pathway to making progress towards a business goal. Or you might start learning about marketing. You might start learning about a new toolkit that will enable us to convert leads faster. You'll be drawn to that. When somebody invites you to a personal development seminar, you're going to notice that that's important, because that's important, that's relevant to the goal. And your brain doesn't understand the difference between imagination and reality. And when you repeatedly program your brain by rehearsing that final outcome again and again, what you want again and again, your brain is going to think that that's the new model of reality, and your brain is going to look for evidence in the environment. And when it looks for evidence, it's going to find it one way or another, right? Same is true for opposite things. If you prime yourself for the wrong things, you're going to look for evidence to support your filter, and as you look for evidence, you're going to find it. Let's say you think that it's not the right time to jump into the business because the economy is bad or whatever, and That's your filter. So you're going to look for evidence to support that filter, and as you look for evidence in your environment, you're going to find the evidence, because there's good, bad, ugly, everything in your environment. If you look for the bad things based on your filter, you're going to find the bad things, and as you find the evidence for the fact that things are not going to work, you're going to find it. As you find it, you're going to reinforce the belief, which is you're going to reinforce the filter, and your filter is going to get stronger. As it gets stronger, it's going to look for even more evidence, and as it looks for even more evidence, it's going to again come back and program it more. So it's basically the loop of the evidence and filter getting stronger, and then finding the evidence, and then strengthening the filter, and then until your filter becomes so strong that you cannot see any way out of it. This is how you prime yourself for obsession towards the things that you want to have, towards the goals that you want to achieve. And this is the way you trap yourself. You're stuck indefinitely, you go down the downward spiral, and you feel stuck, and it becomes very difficult to come out of it, because you have repeatedly programmed it by looking for evidence for your filter, and then reprogramming that filter and making it stronger, again finding for evidence, again strengthening, evidence, strengthening, and then until it becomes so strong that you don't see anything outside that, right? It's strange the way this thing works, and it makes no logical sense, right? But the fact that it is operational on all of us 24/7 is very, very useful. It's a very useful tool to have, because at times when we find ourselves in these moments where we are stuck, we basically have to know that it's not that things are bad around us. It's that we are not primed to notice the right things, and we are not primed to notice the scenario with the right perspective. We are not able to cultivate the right perspective, and we are not able to find the resources, because our priming has gone wrong without our awareness. So we revisit our goals, and we rehearse that emotional feeling, the final outcome, again and again, and then we change our filter, and then that unconscious filter starts looking for evidence, social media, your friend, your parents, anything, right? You're going to become resourceful. Even though there are no resources or less resources in your environment, you're going to become resourceful here, and it's all about resourcefulness. So let me know if this was useful, and talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.